I moved before I was ready. Most people believe before they can make a major move, they need to have certainty, they need to have a perfect plan. Maybe they need to be able to even say it out loud, their goal. But realistically, sometimes these big life movements, big changes we make happen way before we have all of that in place, before everything is certain and we have all the answers. That's how I made my move to Las Vegas way back in 1995. I'll never forget, I graduated from Purdue and always wanted to live somewhere where there's a warm climate, palm trees. Was thinking about Florida at the time, and that was the conversation. But I always had a reason not to move at that time. There was always a wedding that was coming up. There was something, and I always would say after this event happened, then I would move. And finally, I'll never forget, a friend of mine said, well, that wedding is already passed. You already attended that wedding, so when are you moving down there? And I said, I think I blurted out next week or next month. Now, around that same time, I had a group of friends that were going to fly out to Las Vegas. This is from the Midwest, Indiana. And I'm among all of them. They're excited. They're talking on the phone, all excited about their trip next week. And somebody had suggested I should ride my motorcycle to Vegas. And I blurted out, I'll do it. Everybody went crazy. The room went nuts. Now, I knew that I had family here in Las Vegas. I had my godfather had retired from Ford Motor Company. He moved out to Vegas, and his wife and kids. So I knew someone here. And I threw out that, hey, I'll ride my motorcycle out there. Now, the more I thought about this, I thought, well, if I enjoy it and I decide to stay, most likely I'll need a car instead of a motorcycle out here. And my godfather, he was amazing. He was always what I'd seen for the holidays. He was really good friends with my father. They grew up together, so they were really close. So in my mind, I was like, okay, I'll go out there and visit and stay with them, see my friends while they're in town. And decided to drive out to Vegas. And if I didn't like it, I would drive to Fort Lauderdale. Now, the ride out from Northwest Indiana out to Vegas, my 68 Chevy was leaking oil. I probably put a quart of oil every time I changed gas and put gas in this thing. But I make it out here. I get to Las Vegas at about 10:30 at night, and I was coming in through the Hoover Dam. So I met my godfather and his son, and I followed them in. Now, if you've ever been to the Hoover Dam at nighttime, it is a fortress, a big concrete fortress with these amber lights. It is the coolest scene in the evening. And as we're driving through there, it's complete darkness. Now, I assumed there was probably mountains, but I couldn't see anything. I couldn't see Lake Mead. I couldn't see the mountains or anything. And then we come up, and just like over this ridge of mountains, you see all of Las Vegas, all of the lights. And my godfather lived on the edge of town by the Air Force Base. So I park in front of his house. His son goes in. And we didn't really discuss any living arrangements or anything. Just I was coming out to check things out. And he and I are alone in front of my car. And he says, well, where's your clothes? And I said, oh, they're in the car. And he says, well, bring them all in. And he hands me a house key. And he says, this house is your house. I spoke with my wife, my kids. They're to treat you as family, treat you as their brother, and you'll always have a roof over your head. I promised your dad that when he passed away when I was 16. Now I was, 23. And it was the coolest thing. So I moved all my stuff in there, went from being a single only child to having brothers and sisters and pets, and it was a full house. We had a swimming pool. It was a chaos in there, but it was fun. And I went out to the Strip, and my friend stayed at the Treasure Island for the week. And I didn't gamble, but the pit bosses would always give an extra comp for dinner and include me in it. So it was a great week. At the end of that week, we're by the swimming pool looking up at the palm trees, blue skies, and my friend said, hey man, we're flying back tomorrow. When are you heading back? And it feels like I keep getting put on the spot during this whole thing. When are you heading back? And I gave it maybe less than 10 seconds. I don't even know. And I just blurted out, I'm not going back. I'm just going to stay. And that was it. That was 1995. Now we're 2026. So I guess you could say I'm still on vacation and haven't committed yet to the move. But part of my thought was that back then I didn't want to return and look like a failure. Oh, this guy talked up moving to Las Vegas or moving to Lauderdale, and then he's back. So I just left it wide open. There was no going away, get together. There was nothing. It was a normal day, and I just hopped in my car. It was all packed. And I remember the whole time driving out here, eating frosted mini wheats and I think strawberry quick, just basically pure sugar, I guess, now that I look back. But I've loved it ever since, been out here ever since, and it's been an amazing journey, connected with my family. Fortunately, last week my godfather did pass, but if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have moved out here. And then after that, I had multiple friends moved out. I had 4 other friends move out here, which has been really, really cool, and they're still out here in Las Vegas. So when I think about it, I probably should have put in more thought than I did, being such a big change, but I didn't have certainty, maybe certainty in having family here, but I didn't have a job. Didn't have really a perfect plan other than I'm going to drive out there with my clothes, and if that doesn't work, I'll drive to Lauderdale because I had some friends there. It actually committed to that before I was really ready to put my flag in the ground and say, hey, I'm moving to Vegas. It was more, hey, I'll meet you guys out on this trip. So I left it open-ended to leave myself an opening to return back to the Midwest. But that's the story. And whenever I share that story, people say it's like the craziest thing they've ever heard. Like, who just drives somewhere across country to really go on vacation and just never returns, right? Never returns from that vacation kind of thing. So just wanted to share that story with you. Sometimes, and I'm a big overthinker on a lot of things. This one, maybe overthought for a few months and postponed it, but made that decision. So think about that in your own life. There's probably some big decision you're thinking of. I'm thinking in this context, maybe it's starting a YouTube channel or an online business or changing career paths, whatever it may be. Are you waiting for certainty when all you really need is motion and movement to take that first step? I wish you the best and all the success. Appreciate you being here. Have an amazing day, and we'll talk again soon. Thanks.